Good morning. Good morning. Today is Sunday, January 8th, 2023, day 2 of me being intentional of being me. I woke up this morning and I was thinking of what I wanted to talk about today. I was thinking of a message that's applicable in my life in this season, but specifically a message that would encourage others who are possibly walking in the same season that I'm walking, or have walked, or will be walking in this season. I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about acts of service, because that's important. And then I want to talk about beautifully broken. Acts of service, to me, are acts of love. People make time for what's important to them. Bills have to be paid, so we get up and go to work. We go to work because we need to produce an income for our families, right? We eat because we're hungry. The body is telling us it's time to put nourishment in our body. Whether it's healthy or not, we're putting something in our mouth when we're hungry. We're being intentional. When the body is tired, we sleep, we rest, we try to reset because our mind is telling our body that it needs to shut down so that it can recover properly. So people make time for what's important, right? If there's a new movie coming out and we want to see it, or if there's a concert we want to go to, we make time, we take our resources, we cover the cost of it, we drive our vehicles or take whatever means of transportation to get to where we want to go. People make time for what's important. But I think as a people as a whole, I'm not speaking to a specific class of people, a specific ethnic group, a specific nationality, or spiritual preference or religious preference. I'm speaking to us as a people. I think where we lack is act of service for others. I think that we find that we're too busy to lend a helping hand to someone who's in need, maybe an elderly neighbor, or maybe a child that dropped something and needs help to pick it up. We are so blinded by social media and we're always heads down, I'm guilty as charged, in our phones everywhere we go. Or if we're at an event of something that we want to remember, we're up in our phones and we're showcasting to our audience or to whoever we're streaming this to where we are, and we're not present. We're not presently available to give acts of service to people who need it. Remember, there was a time in your life. There was a time in my life. There will be a time in your life. There will be a time in my life where we need someone to consider us, to consider a fake smile, to consider the tears, to consider the level of anxiety that we're eluding, to consider the depression that they can see in us but don't want to talk about it because it's not politically correct to talk to people about what they're perceived to have or not have. That's a whole new different topic. Acts of service can be a smile, can be a good morning, can be I thought about you. It can be you came to my mind, so I stopped what I was doing to pick up the phone, to call or text you or email you to say, hey, you're on my mind. Acts of service are acts of love. We need to be more intentional about performing acts of service to demonstrate true acts of love. People need people. Even the most narcissistic, isolated, parasitic person needed somebody before they got to that stage. People need people. So I want to encourage you this morning to take some time and be intentional about an act of service for someone else. It could be cooking a meal. It could be sharing a plate. It could be washing a car. It could be raking leaves or cutting grass or shoveling snow. It could be washing someone's clothes. But the secret is, or the requirement should be, you're doing it without the expectation of it being reciprocated from that person. Acts of service are acts of love. And that takes me directly into the next point or topic that I want to talk about. And this is right now in my bosom. I was raised in a church. So for all of you who don't know, brought up Pentecostal, still finding my way through it. But a lot of my references are going to be biblical. I try to correlate or cross-reference into life, but that's my core, that's my upbringing. That's what I know. That's what I lean on. That's my go-to, that's my foundation. So I don't want anyone to get offended. And I really don't care if you're offended, because this is my principle, my foundation, my bosom, my word. This is what I'm giving birth to in this season. So I'm apologetically saying, just hear me out. If that made sense, right? But in brokenness, I've been broken. I'm still being broken. We think brokenness is bad, right? We're embarrassed. We're embarrassed by our flaws because we live in a society that says we need to be perfect all the time, that our makeup needs to be crisp, that our clothes need to be a certain way, and we need to put on a filter to make us look completely different than what we look in real life, and wonder why people gaze at us wondering, was this the same person I was talking to online? Yes. We live in a society that pushes perfection when it doesn't exist. And it has nothing to do with perfection. It has to do with economic gain for companies. That's a whole new different topic. To make us want to buy that look, to make us want to spend money to augment ourselves, to not be who we are, our authentic selves. And I'm not going to edit that because I don't want this to be perfect. I stumbled, I stuttered, and I corrected myself. That's life. That could preach. Brokenness is when you had the best of intentions, you had a good idea, you had a plan. If you're like me, we write down things all the time and we come up with goals and projections and professional improvement plans and personal improvement plans. We do all these things intentionally. And then life happens. It doesn't work out. The relationship didn't last. The marriage didn't last. The pregnancy didn't last. The job didn't last. The income didn't last. The car broke down. The kids are being rebellious. The house needs to be cleaned. There's so many things that can happen through the course of the best written and executed plan, right? And it leads us to feel that we failed. It leads us to feel broken. So there's a song by a choir, Shekinah Glory, that I love. It's called Broken. And I lean on that in times when I'm questioning, am I on the right path? Am I following my purpose? Am I intentionally resetting myself to align with my values, to my goals? Or am I just doing this because I'm just doing a normal day-to-day, robotic, mindless act that we typically do sometimes, right? So when I think about being beautifully broken, I think of the right intentions going the wrong way, right? And then if you had the right intentions and you had the best plan and health came in or finances came in or death came in, and we had the right plan, but it went the wrong way, we feel broken, we feel disappointed, we get depressed, we feel hurt, we feel lost, we feel grief. But what came to my mind, and I'm going to say it my way, what came to my spirit this morning is, even the right plan that went the wrong way is the right path, right? I learned some of the best lessons of life through brokenness, through failure, through rejection, through disappointment. You can go to school to achieve the highest level of academic training, education, certification. But until you step on glass, a book can never describe how that's going to feel. And we have so many people, and I'm not discrediting anybody with the credentials and the wherewithal, and they've been to school since St. Ashbury. I'm not discrediting any of that. I'm an advocate of education, higher education. But until you experience it, you can't really talk about it. You could talk about it theoretically, but you can't talk about it impactfully, if that makes sense, right? When you step on that glass, you can describe the pain. You can describe the amount of blood. You can describe the scar that it left. You can describe the amount of healing that it took, so that when you see someone else who steps on a piece of glass, you can say to them, it's going to hurt. You're going to bleed. You're going to have a scar, but in time, you're going to be okay. You're going to recover. So I just want to encourage all of you who are feeling broken, who are feeling unsure, who are questioning the validity of some of your decision making. I'm going through that every day, every moment. I'm a deep thinker naturally. Just remember, broken is better. Broken is better. Women, we get a pair of high heel shoes, those Louis Vuittons, whatever shoes you got on, and you put your foot in it, the red bottoms, it hurts. It hurts until you put your foot in it and break it in, and the shoe conforms to your foot. It does not become comfortable and easy to walk in until your foot forces the shoe to conform to it. Men, you get a pair of sneakers, running sneakers. You're athletic. You want to go to the gym. You want to do what you do. And you put on a pair of brand new sneakers. They're uncomfortable. They may feel not like heels for women, but they're still uncomfortable. They have not conformed to your foot. The foam in it hasn't molded to your foot. So everything in life needs to be broken in, including us. So I just want to encourage you, all of you who are following me or speaking to me or praying for me or motivating me, be patient with me as I'm patient with you, because we're beautifully broken. Listen, I gotta go, trying to keep these talks 10 minutes. I'm a little bit over, but I covered 2 topics: being intentional with acts of service, acts of love, and walking in our beautifully brokenness, right? Right. Yes, you got it, right? This is Dee, signing off for the day. I got things to do. I have acts of service to execute on. I got to practice what I preach, and that could preach. Have a blessed day. And remember, we are human. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with others. And we will grow, and we will look back and say, wow, look how remarkable that time spent has been. Have a great day.